So good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to have us again today on the 11th of January, 2024 on our weekly health and safety interactive workshop. So it's my pleasure to have us all gathered again after a whole 1 week. And we'll give God all the glory that we are alive to see today's workshop. So without wasting our time, we have a lot to discuss, and we have a very interesting topic to discuss today. So we'll not waste much of our time. So I will just a brief reminder, health and safety, Safeoclock is a platform where we gather virtually from all over the world. We have people joining us from Nigeria, from Pakistan, from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, and other places. So we are like-minded health and safety professionals who come together to discuss a specific topic on each week. So the platform has been growing. We started like with just 10 people, but now we are over 20 to 30 participants on a weekly basis. So we are growing, and will encourage us to reach out to other professionals to participate so that we can share our experiences and learn from each other. So today, without wasting time, we are start discussing the topic which says the role of training in improving workplace health and safety. So you will agree with me that if you want to improve your workplace safety, training cannot be set aside. You can't do without training. So those aspects and those points are what we'll be looking at today from different perspectives. So Mr. Chris is going to commence. So I'll give him platform to share his screen. You can go ahead and share your screen. So others will come in later.
All right. Hope we can all see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Take this out. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's topic, today's session. And the topic is the role of safety training in improving workplace health and safety. My name is Christian Eshemogie, and I'm in the midst of scattered members intimidating me from right, left, and center. But it's okay. We are growing. Currently, I'm writing my IPD. I did the first exam yesterday, so I'm in the second phase. I trust that very soon I'll catch up. So having said that, before without any further ado, just look at a few statistics in regards to the topic we're looking at. I'll just pick an aspect or part of those things that will call for the need for training. All right. And this is a chart. Stress is the biggest threat to workplace health. And looking at psychological hazards, which involve stress, bullying, and the rest of mental health issues, are on the rise right now. You see stress is even the highest of other work hazards. That's why you see people, taking their lives, running into issues, especially those who are away from home for a long time. Now, and that calls for concern, because if your workforce are sick or they have ill-health, then it will also have a multiplier effect on your return on investment, because if they are always away from work, then what you are losing man-hour, you're not able to meet up with targets for clients, and that will also be part of the things that are happening in the company that is making all that happen. So training will come handy to take care of that. High employees crave more trainings. 65% of employees find in-house training to be helpful. 48% of employees say that they learn best listening to audios. 91% of middle-aged professionals says that job training is necessary for self-development. It is 8% of employees don't try to learn things outside of the office to benefit their career. All these are statistics. Well, let's go. Now, let's look at what is training in the first place. Training is the planned, formal process of acquiring and practicing knowledge and skills in a relatively safe environment. Please note that training has a dramatic effect on safety-related behavior. With training, training is able to help to modify behavior. I will know that when looking at accident and incident, the immediate causes, we're looking at behavioral issues, all right? And part of those behavioral issues are as a result of what probably the system failed to address or what the employer fails to address. Training has a dramatic effect on safety-related behavior. How you behave safely is a function of the exposure of training you have gotten. That's why the difference between a professional and a roadside, be it polytechnic trade, mechanic, artisans, those that have the basic training, when we mention the word competent, which comprises of the skills, the knowledge, the ability, and the experience, and other attributes to carry out a certain function. So without training, workers try to do their job by copying others, right? What we call, just want to copy. And in doing that, you will land into problems. So they doing the job the way they think is best, which is a limitation to the number of the amount of exposure training-wise that they have, right? Then let's see the importance of safety training. Training helps workers to understand what hazard and risk. In the course of these slides, one of the slides we'll be seeing, we're trying to identify some signs. And when I usually take my student on NEBOSH, I throw it to them to try to identify what those signs are. They see them every day, but because of the training has not been, they've not gone for the training. They seem not to understand what those signs are. And those things are communicating vital information that could save life, that could help to ensure that the workplace is safe, both for workers, contractors, third parties, members of the public, visitors, and the rest of them. Emergency procedure, training will help you to understand it because you help you to describe the chart. Who to contact with concerns, limitations and restrictions, personal safety responsibilities, consequences of breaking rules, including disciplinary procedures. That when you break certain rules, you go outside the company's laid down procedure, then you are ready to go in for it. Training will help you understand that. Especially induction training and the rest of them will give you all those information. That's one reason for investing in your workers' health and safety training. Now, compliance with safety laws and regulations is one. Because if you don't each company everywhere in the world will always operate within the framework of the country's law, provision of law. If you go outside that purview, then you are now, asking for sanctions, and that will lead to close down the business. So 5 benefits of health and safety training at work. We look at the higher productivity. When you train, professionalism sets in, people now get to have experience, they get to know their job better, and they become more productive. Reduce medical insurance costs, because when you are trained, you know how to keep yourself clean, looking at personal hygiene, looking at good practices, bad practices, looking at safe behaviors and unsafe behaviors, and you know what the do's and don'ts of the workplace, then you are able to save medical costs. And this also brings us to cost saving in on the reasons for health and safety in workplace, training in workplace. Of course, risk reduction. Risk reduction will also come in line with this in reducing the insurance cost, because if an insurance company, because they are there to make a profit, once they know that you are accident or incident prone, they increase your premium. Why? Because they also are there to make profit. So it lowers workers' compensation rates, also costs, because when there are no accident, people, you are not liable, you're not fined, you're not prosecuted, and you have that money to spare around to motivate your staff. Increase your efficiency and quality. That's what training does. It improves reputation as an employer. That man is known for, setting pace and setting standards, going beyond, the benchmark and all of that. And then positive image, like I will mention, productivity increase. We talked about it. Now, it's another survey that says why training is important. 83% of people feel that staff are the key to maintaining a competitive edge. 45% of staff says they feel more motivated if the organization invests in skill training. If there is the law requires that you train your staff. You're changing the process, train. You are employing new staff, train. You're managing the change, train. You are taking a staff from one department to another. You have to train so that the person has to understand all the process involved in that new area. And if you also technological change, you also change. You also train. Following an audit and all of that require. You also train. When you review risk assessment, you also train to help to update with all the new things. When there's a technical change, when there's an innovation, you also train. Business are 2.5 times more likely to fail if they don't train their staff. And that is true. That is true. So I want to ask us, like I also always ask my students, let us just do a quick one here by trying to identify what these signs, what these are. Yeah, by the way, these are 2015 update on COSH symbols, all right? And let us just echo this if before I will now bring out what their names are or what their labels are. For this, we know what this is, right? Let's attempt. Let's maybe a group work now. Can everyone hear me?
Hello? Yes. So we can hear you.
So this first one I'm pointing now is what? This symbol represents what? The first one here. Hello? Can we hear me?
Yeah. You can unmute and talk, no problem.
Yes. Can we remember what this stands for? Standing for is what it signifies? What hazard is communicating?
That should be toxic.
All right. Toxic. This.
Corrosive.
Corrosive.
Corrosive. Yes. The next one.
This
For chemical substance and
it can be
non-
warning or irritant.
Okay. This.
Oxidation.
Flammability,
Oxidation.
high
Oxidizing.
flammability.
It has oxidizing effect.
All right. Oxidizing. Correct. Yes. This.
It's
Dangerous to the aquatic
affect
environment.
aquatic
All right.
Yeah,
This.
sea life.
gas under pressure,
Compressed
Yeah.
gas. Yes. This.
Yes,
Compressed
compressed
cylinder.
gas.
Right. This.
pressurized.
Carcinogen.
This means
Carcinogen.
carcinogenic.
No.
To the human
This
life
one.
and directly
What
to
about
the bronchitis.
Fire.
Flammable.
flammable and this.
Explosive.
Explosive.
There are more, but let's just go with this now.
Burstable,
Now-
burstable.
There are more, but toxic, corrosive, irritant or harmful, oxidizing, dangerous to the environment, compressed gas, health hazard, flammable, and explosive. There are more, but let's just go ahead. Now, this is a situation for a typical poor housekeeping setting. And there are so many hazards here, which if you want to start spotting, we can't, we may not live here. But training has helped a lot of persons to understand what these hazards are, how to identify them, how to be able to put the office in the right shape so that it becomes safe, because there are no provisions here that you will have right to come to work safely and go back home safely without getting hurt, because the employer is supposed to ensure that we come to a safe workplace, provide safe working equipment, safe access and egress, safe plants, safe equipment that are tested, identify all hazards in the workplace, take care of them, and put in measures to ensure that hazards are controlled such that people come to work and everything they work with are safe. They don't pose any health threat to workers. So training will help you to be able to spot hazard in the workplace, and you're able to know what to do at the right time to ensure that that hazard is mitigated and controlled. Also, same thing here. A lot of persons may not understand, who may not have training, may not understand hazard. That's why you see people looking at risk perception. They say, okay, this thing I've been doing it for years and nothing has happened and all of that. I'll give you a story. A truck driver was to load steel plates that were being discharged from a vessel. And one of my students, who is a neighbor student, said he went to meet the man who was sitting in his cabin while the magnetic crane was discharging the steel plates, heavy steel plates, all right, on his truck. And he first felt he could sit down on his truck while that exercise was going on. And the secretary officer went there and said, sir, please come down from this truck. You're not supposed to be on this truck while loading is ongoing. The man said, do you want me to insult your generation because you feel that you have gone to school and you come to want to show that you know it all and you're coming here? Do you know before you were born, I was doing this job, I've been doing this job for years, and if not that I were in your premises, I would have given you a dirty slap and all of that. Started insulting him. The guy was still not comfortable. He still went to meet. The guy was still adamant, and he called his supervisor. The supervisor told the man, if you don't get off your truck, then we will stop loading you. And the man just sluggishly stepped down. It was just few meters away. The equipment failed, and guess where it landed? On the cabin where he was sitting. Just smashed the cabin. So the man saw that he was just a few distance away from being statistics, as in he was just a few meters away from death, and he was shaking and shivering. And he started calling the boy, my son, thank you, my son, thank you, my son, thank you, my son. The boy who he was whooshing and shouting out, yelling at, just a few minutes ago Because now he saw it because he has saved him from death. And that's what safety is all about. We're like angels. We keep going beyond the earth, ensuring that we communicate right information so that people walk safe and they go back home safe to meet their loved ones, whether there's money in their pocket or not, because they are very important, their family. A quote, there's only one thing worse than training employees and losing them, training employees and losing them, and that is not training them and keeping them. I take it again. There is only one thing worse than training employees and losing them, and that is not training them and keeping them. If you don't train, by the way, Zig Ziglar is the one that made this quote. There is, let me say, training, the efficacy of training can never be overemphasized. All right? If you do not train, you will lose them. And if you are keeping them, they cannot be productive optimally as to when you train them. So you too, you'll be running at a loss. In conclusion, safety is not something that can happen, this is another quote, on its own by accident. You need to work towards it, which includes training. Work towards it with the right measures, tools, and mindset. You have a mindset of an entrepreneur who is out there to make good return on investment, then you must ensure that you empower your workforce. And your workforce are your money-making machine, because they will ensure they take ownership because you value them. And then they also see that this dream, as per the vision, the policy of the company, is sustained, thereby ensuring that everybody that comes in and goes out there are safe, and then you'll be smiling to the bank with good return on investment. So, safety is much too important. Your safety, my safety, our safety is much too important not to understand. Because if you don't understand, then you'll be asking for trouble. You'll be asking for the undesired effect. And that desired effect can have a ripple effect on the organization and your workforce. Sometimes it may even lead to close down. I just read recently about a man in Canada, an employer, who all the time has been breaking rules. They've warned him, they fined him, and they saw that he's not budging. What he just did is they just enacted a law banning him from doing anything that has to do with work at height. Banning his company, banning him, he can't take those contracts, he can't do those work, he cannot, he is useless when as far as construction industry is concerned. They are just retired him before his due date for retirement. Why? Because it's a hazard. Putting people's families, people's lives in danger, while he smiles to the bank because he didn't care about their welfare. And they just had to ensure that he is a hazard, so they had to couple him and tell him goodbye to the industry. So with that, I stop and thank you for the opportunity. And it's I hope this has helped us one way or the other to shaping our training ability and ensuring that our staff are well trained and have the right training in helping to minimize and reduce workplace mishap and hazard. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian. We appreciate that wonderful slides. So without wasting much time, I will invite Mr. Stephen to share his slides so that we'll progress. You are mute, Stephen, you are mute.
Okay, good evening, all. Sorry for that. Actually, I'm not going to be making any formal presentation in terms of slides, but will just be a form of adding one or two things from what Mr. Christian have done. He has really said a lot of what I have in stock, you know, and basically along the line, when I was preparing for this topic, I was moving towards like, oh, the return on investment, you know, when it comes to health and safety training. Then when I was going further, I look at it that this should also be another topic for discussion, because as a safety professional, one thing I believe is that these are one of the strong points, you know, like I keep saying it, what organizations wants to hear is when you advocate for certain things or you advise them on certain things, because they lack this knowledge, they are not better than we who are professional, who have the in-depth knowledge about what it takes, you know, to implement certain things in order to make profit within our organization. So sometimes we need to go to that extent to convince them. So I will just be looking for an opportunity later where we'll be discussing on the return on investment, you know, in implementing health and safety, probably procedures and all that, you know, which training is part of it, you know. A lot of things comes, you know, in terms of return on investment, you know, just like the way Mr. Chris said it, you know, the thing is focused on cost saving. A lot are involved there, you know, so we should also channel our energy towards that return on investment, where we can come up with some certain calculations with example from previous company as a case study, how they were able to save money. You know, sometimes this is what organization wants to see. This is the proof, because sometimes when you tell them verbally, they want you to show, they want you to give them proof. You know, apart from maybe being practical, they just want to say, okay, can you prove to me what you are saying? How can this be achievable and all that? So at the level at which we are, we should be able to work towards how to be able to convince management. So in a nutshell, we'll look for a particular date where we can exploit that opportunity, you know. So basically, like Mr. Our first presenter have said, you know, training, really, safety training is very, very vital and important, because I will just take an example, what we are doing here right now. We are in a web now. Are we gaining something or we are not? Here, we're improving our knowledge. Okay, we are refreshing our knowledge. You know, just like what the presenter projected and all that. You know, some of us, because we for a very long time, we've left an industry that deals with probably chemicals, you know. So not that we don't know those things, because we are off, you know, dealing with chemicals for a very, very long time, we might not be able to just recollect immediately, you know. It doesn't mean you don't have the idea, you know. So sometimes a situation like this keeps making us to refresh our knowledge, you know, because nobody will tell me here that he has no idea about those things, like he has not seen them before. But recalling, because different industry, different thing you face there. So the essence is that as we are gathered here as a professional to discuss, it could also be coming in the form of training. Like for me, the way I see it, whether you communicate, whether you give information and training, all these things, because even in training, you are communicating. Even in training, you are passing information. So those two, three, I always put them together. So it is very, very important, because it reduces accidents and injuries on site. Because just like our first speaker has said, when the workers are trained, they know, okay, they are informed, they will be able to spot hazard, they will be able to know. All these things are what we do on our side, especially in construction. Sometimes we see some workers, they are doing things that are wrong, but we have to correct them. We have to tell them the implication of what they are doing. from there, some of them learn, majority of them, they learn, they pick from it. So it is very important that training is essential in any organization, and like he has rightly said before, it increases productivity. How? How does it increase productivity? Because when workers are stressed, when workers sustain injury, they are off work, this will lead to absenteeism. And once somebody is absent from work, it will affect the productivity. There is a loss. You don't need somebody to come from heaven to explain to one director or one manager to understand all this. He says something about insurance and all that. Yes, it's not about just having an insurance package. But when you begin to have issues, not training your workers, and they becomes to fall sick, they begin to have injuries and all that, you become a prime to your insurance company, because when they begin to find faults in accident like that, they will increase the premium, just like you have said. So at whose expense or benefit? So another thing I want to point out about training is that it also, increase workers' morale and motivate them. That is the reality. You discover that it's also increase the retention of staff. Because if you find out in most organizations who have especially training and development department who has a strong policy in terms of training. See, I'm telling you, like the kind of person I am, if I find myself in an organization that hold this to an high esteem, you will discover that sometimes it's not about the salary. Because when you yourself, you do the calculation, like in one of my previous company, when I got there, when I went for the interview, then I start asking them some question, what are your policy in terms of training and all that? So I think they told me then, I said, okay, if I want to go in for certain program, then I've not had my level 6. I said, okay, if I want to go for my level 6 diploma, how they can come in and all that. So they told me, they said, yes, they have a policy. If the company is going to sponsor you, you should also give them a guarantee that at least you stay with them up to 5 years. You see, the company happens to be one of the, in fact, as a matter of fact, it remains the best company I've worked in this country. I got it during the COVID time, and you know how the market was then. So I just got the job, but I cannot use the salary to run the family. That is another factor. If I can use it to run the family, probably I would have still be there, because there's a lot of benefits. Just a lot of benefits are there, So, when there's this kind of benefit you get from an organization who encourage people to learn, who train their employee, you discover that people will be well informed. Okay, people will understand the risk on site, the hazard, and you discover that the tax or the work of a safety professional will even be less, because everybody are aware of whatever they need to do to know in order to work safely and be free from accident and all that. Like you also rightly said from the first speaker, it is a mandatory requirement, because these are legal requirements. Any company who fail in that aspect, can face the law. Okay, from ISO, from the Health and Safety at Work Act, down to the ISO 45001, all those things are spelled out there. There is no profession, as in there's no, how will I say it? There's no department or skilled worker that do not need it. Everybody needs training, and this training could be a kind of general awareness, and it could be specific to a specific task or job role. Okay, so it is very important. And also for reputational issue, a company who do not train their staff, and different kind of issues happen regarding accident and all that, the reputation of the company, is at stake as well. And continuous training is not just training for the first one time. There's always a provision, because when you look at OSHA requirements, they did not just state only training and retraining. Okay, so because over time, some of the things might just go off, so there's a room for retraining. So training can never be overemphasized. Like everybody have said, it is very, very important, because you and I were here today because we are seeking knowledge. Okay, we want to continue to learn. We want to continue to know. you know, if we don't continue to search for all these things, this knowledge and all that through training, reading and all that, so we cannot be able to even exercise or do our job properly as an health and safety practitioner. So that is why you see the training is very important. And as a professional, you yourself, you can also distinguish yourself among all health and safety, among other safety practitioners, because there are some that are just here, oh, I'm just working safety. They are working as a safety officer maybe for 10 years, no improvement, even within themselves as a self, you know, even if you're in an organization that cannot train you, you see, we go our own way by even training ourselves because we know the importance, because we seek for knowledge. So at this juncture, I would not want to go much further because I would like to give other people the opportunity to say one or two things. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. We appreciate you as always. Without wasting much time, I'll bring in Mr. Andrew. Mr. Andrew, you can share your screen and
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good time to be here again with my senior colleagues. My name is Andrew Okoh. I want to thank Mr. Johnson for the privilege, and I want to thank Mr. Chris and Mr. Stephen for the detailed analysis. You've said it all. I just want to add my voice. So, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you can see my slide.
Yes,
So,
yes.
just as you have already pointed out, it is a continuous process. The role of training in improving workplace health and safety, which is very important and which determines organization that will stand the test of time and the one that will not. Training is all encompassing. For example, we all join organization with this, but at joining the organization, we are like novice and we are new. From all profession, from the project manager to the floor workers, they have to learn the process of the organization. They have to go through one form of induction or the other. So without wasting time, I have some few slides which I have prepared, and I have some topic here: who needs health and safety training, tailoring health and safety training to the needs of workers, Maslow hierarchy of needs, training needs analysis, type of workplace health and safety training, sources of health and safety training legislation, and the summary. So I'll just run through it because our time is limited. So just as my previous colleagues have said, who needs safety training? Everyone in the organization needs safety training. Like we all have one experience or the other. The team management in person or the project manager engineers, in most time, they only focus on their field of expertise, maybe engineering or project management and all that. But you find out in these days, project managers, if they don't have health and safety training, most of the organization will not hire them because it all affects all aspects of the job, from the design, from planning, if safety is not there, quality will be affected. That is sure. So it is paramount of importance that the top management team, the engineers, to the shop floor workers, we are all involved in one form of health and safety training or the other. So as an organization, you need to provide training and instruction to your employees to ensure they are able to carry out their tasks safely and without risk to health. Training is helping showing employees what they should do and what they should not do while carrying out their work activities. Employees should suitably train in all aspects of their job, from menial job to the riskiest job. Suitable trained employee can reduce workplace incident and accident, which in turn can lead to reduced costs, lower insurance premium, and fewer potential lawsuits. Health and safety training promotes a healthier, safer, and happier workforce. And I believe everyone can attest to that. If employees are well trained, they will be happy because they have this ownership of the job. They know the risk, they know the hazard. Your job as a health and safety professional, just as Mr. Stephen has said, will be lesser. Your headache will be lesser, stress will be lesser, because everyone knows what to do. They know how to identify hazard, and they know how to suggest control measure even before you even identify the hazard and the risk involved. The worker who you think is just a labor will tell you, this is how we should do it, this is how we should not do it. So that makes your job easy as a safety professional. So it is very important that we build up this interest in training our employee. It really goes a long way to help. So we cannot talk about training without competency, just as you have pointed out. We all know what competency is, which is having the right skills, knowledge, and the ability to perform job correctly and in a safe manner. Health and safety training helps to reinforce employee competency. I hope everyone will agree with me on this, because when you bring a particular knowledge to a workplace, you have limits to what the organization is doing. By the time you are trained on the organization learning what they are doing, what are the hazards, what are the risks, what are the opportunities, you begin to appreciate more the importance of training to build your competency. And that applies to every worker and every employee, including management team in the organization. So tailoring health and safety training to the needs of workers. I try to marry this with the Maslow hierarchy of needs. For instance, if you want employee to involve in training, you have to identify the common needs of man. Just as Maslow have pointed at, we all have physiological safety and security, love, self-esteem, and self-actualization needs. If these needs are not, first of all, meant, for instance, the basic needs, physiological need, for instance, somebody who is hungry, who have not even eaten, how will he be able to learn? Somebody who feels insecure in the workplace, this worker feels insecure, is maybe having some threats or some bullying, some workplace violence, or some peer intimidation. How will he be able to learn? Love. Somebody who feels that is not loved, how will he be able to learn? Self-esteem. Self-esteem in the reason that somebody feels inferior how will he be able to blend? How can he socialize? How can he join the class or the team that you want to train? And so the top of the pyramid, we have self-actualization. At that point, for many of us here, as health and safety professionals, we have, in one way or the other, tried to develop ourselves, and we are still learning. We are hungry to learn. I am hungry to learn. You are hungry to learn. That is why we are in this platform. And that is how we build knowledge, and we grow with that. That is, to some extent, when we get to a point, we be like satisfying with this profession. Like when I first joined health and safety, I was not much confident. I was not much knowledgeable. I was not much understanding the concept. But as I begin to participate in this kind of forum, learning, doing CPD, I can see that I am growing. And that is it for every worker in the workplace and everyone. So at this point, it is good that we identify these needs while we are preparing our training programs or while we are training our workers. So I go on to the training needs analysis. We have to identify the training needs of workers or the organization by learning what the organization process is, what are the inherent hazards, what are the both minor and critical hazards of the organization. We have to identify it and identify key roles and responsibilities of individuals in the organization who have to perform health and safety duties. So looking at that, we say health and safety training needs assessment is a systematic process of collecting and analyzing data to determine the learning needs of your employees in relation to safety standards, regulations, and goals. It helps you to answer questions like, what are the safety risks and hazards in your environment? In other words, training needs analysis is a process that determines which type of training a worker needs to thrive in their role, fill knowledge skill gap, or develop their learning in order to improve their job performance. So I believe we are following the slides, so I wouldn't want to read everything because of time. So I move on. This is just a sample of health and safety training matrix, where you identify the key people in the organization or who need what type of training or the other to improve the health and safety performance of the organization. So type of workplace training. Of course, we are all familiar with different types of workplace training, starting from induction training. Induction training, then we have some of the topics you should provide in induction training include workplace orientation, health and safety policy, fire safety and emergency procedures, first aid, health and safety such as risk assessment or accident reporting. So refresher training. There is need for refresher training because just as Mr. Stephen have previously pointed at, we likely to forget many things. We can finish this slide and you ask me the next thing I may forget. So that does not make a worker not competent. So that is the reason why refresher training is, for instance, when we have this first aid training, it is they expect that in the next year you should have the training again. So other types of training. So refresher training helps to keep our knowledge fresh again. So we have the toolbox talk. The toolbox talk, like other people, there are a lot of different types of toolbox talk: restart, briefing, safety task analysis, and risk reduction. So this is what we do every time to make sure that the work process everyone is aware of it. What are the hazards that are inherent, and what are the job process and the risk control? This all embedded in the toolbox on daily basis. Okay, let's skip this. So we talk about in-house training, sources of training. We have in-house and third-party training, which we can also consider the external training. So in-house training, many of us, we do carry out this in-house training, which we do every day as safety professional or on real-time basis, where we have to identify key employees or the employees in the organization, and we conduct the training. And if there is need for expert training, we need to make sure that this external trainer, which is third-party trainer, conduct this training, because it's beyond our expertise or our area of knowledge. So that is about the external training or third-party training. Then we have health and safety legislation. Yeah, so like health and safety is part of the law. Training is a key aspect of health and safety legislation. We have different legislation that talk about health and safety training, which every organization is obliged to comply. And hence, if any incident happens, this is going to lead to court cases, fines, and imprisonment, and lots more. So one of them is the Health and Safety at Work Act. We have others. Then employers have a legal duty under Health and Safety at Work regulation to cooperate with other employers to ensure compliance with health and safety law. So it is law which all organizations need to comply with. Training is mandatory. We have the Management of Health and Safety at Work regulation. We have a safety representative and safety committee regulations, and so much. Even the QCS talk about the health and safety and the Qatar labor law as well. So health and safety training is a mandatory aspect of legislation. So in summary and conclusion, effective and suitable occupational health and safety training has proven to be productive in enhancing health and safety performance in the workplace across all types of industries, from agriculture, mining, manufacturing, hospitality, construction, oil and gas, to prevent accidents, meet legal and contractual requirements, increase productivity and profitability for the organization. So with that, I want to hand over back to Mr. Johnson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew, for that wonderful slides and for taking the time to prepare those presentations. So our time is fast spent, but I just want to add few points. Now, most people might get scared of conducting training. Why do most or some health and safety professionals scared of going into training or being involved in training? You see, you must not be an expert. You must not be a university professor before you deliver training. In delivering training, you are only interested in transmitting knowledge and information to your workers or to people. So, and you must not be an expert in that field for you to give out that information. The major reason why health and safety training is very important is that information is conveyed. And the most appropriate person or the most available person to convey this information is the health and safety professional, who is always available and is almost everywhere at the same time. So giving out health and safety training will help you pass relevant information to your audience or to the workers. So I would have to encourage us to take this as a means of communication, not just about delivering a professional training or maybe giving a training that is too complex, but as simple as work at height, as simple as use of ladder. It can be a practical demonstration. What you are doing is training. It's not, you must not go to a classroom, or you must not be a university professor before you can deliver training. So let us make it a habit of giving training, give training again and again. Even if you have given the training for the first time and after some time you find out that the issue is still on ground, repeat the training again, because that is one of the most effective ways of changing health and safety behaviors at work. So that is simply what I want to add. And we have a lot of differences between school education and work site training. Majorly, training is majorly targeted to adults. So when you are conducting training at work, you know that you are talking to fellow adults who are experienced, who are in that particular field, and who will actually understand you. So you will not be afraid of using any terms. Even if you find it difficult expressing, just bring it practically. Take them to that particular location and say, this is wrong and this is right. That is a training. Training has been conducted and knowledge has been passed. So let us imbibe the culture of training and training again. Let's not just wait until management has approved 1 hour or 2 hours for training. It can be just as short as 5 minutes. As far as you have passed an information, as far as you have conveyed a relevant knowledge or skill to those team, and you have corrected an unsafe practice. So this will actually help and to improve the health and safety culture in our workplace. So I don't want to continue because our time is fast spent. So let's see if few people have points to contribute within few minutes before we call it a day. Okay, Engineer Tayab, you can unmute and go ahead.
Thank you very much. Basically, I have question. Anybody, first of all, I have question. Anybody who are interested to change the career and want to get to know with other domain, specifically, let's suppose has HSE field and want to switch another field like in aviation specified, then the training will play a vital role or not in that scenario? What would you say about that?
Actually, anybody that wants to change a field, the first thing that should come to his mind is training. After you have made up your mind on the field you want to navigate to or you want to change to, the first thing is training. First, you have to do a training analysis, identify the relevant trainings that you need to take you to that particular field or to the particular level which you want to go to. Then when you have identified the trainings, the next thing is to identify the training institutes or academic centers where you need to obtain those trainings. And when those are in place, then you can actually proceed. So without training, you are not actually going to make that move. You need to first of all obtain relevant information before you can make the move. Mr. Harrison, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. A special
You're
greeting to Mr. Johnson, Mr. Stephen, Chris, and everyone. Just before my initial contribution, let me add to the, a part of what you have added to this, the last question. Okay, that if you are changing a profession or a career, if training is going to play an important role. Of course, yes. The need for training or the role of training in your career or in the change of profession, or when you get to a new environment, or to a new organization, similar organization, but at this time a different one, but similar to your previous organization, you have to be trained. You have to be indoctrinated into the policy, not necessarily health and safety. Anything. It could be the way they manage their organization, their business, their strategy. They will train you in their policies. They will train you in their procedure. All of these form part of the training, for which if you are not trained on that, if you are not taking through their procedure or processes, you might not be getting it right. So training is very, very important. Training is a core requirement for all of these things. It cannot be overemphasized. Okay, having said that, let's come to the topic of the day. So the role of training in improving the occupational health and safety of the workplace. This cannot be overemphasized. It is as bare as good morning. When you say good morning, it is as important as that in the morning when you say good morning. It's very easy to see, right? Okay, good. Now, what are some of those things that you are likely to benefit, or the role, the training when given, in an organization, the health and safety significance that you are going to get from it? First and foremost, is going to improve the positive safety culture of that organization. Because when people become aware, when you create the awareness, people know better, they understand better, so they do things better. The more you know, the more likely you are going to do better. That is the truth. Okay, then it's going to improve productivity. Yes, because people know better, they know how to do things better. So there's likely to be improvement in their productivity. Then, of course, there's going to be a reduction in accident or incident. Okay, when you know how to do better safely because you have been taught. Okay, because they have been training, whether practical training, whether theoretical training, whether on-the-job training, whether third-party training, whether internal training, all manner of training, include your toolbox talk, your what do you call it, your toolbox talk. Okay, all of these are all training at different level. They create awareness. They create, they give information, instruction. Okay, these are all form of training, and they are given to you to guide you so that you can act safely, you can act in a safer manner. So it is contributing to the occupational health and safety of that organization. So it is improving it, the safety culture of that organization. Because people now know better, they now act better, they do things in a better form or in a safer way. Let's use the word safe. Okay. Then of course, it will also improve the professionality of that individual. Okay, and in all of this put together, when this organization, the personnel, okay, or the workers, they understand better their duties in a very safer way, they are operating in a safe way, then they are going to, what they call, employee morale will be boosted. Okay, to be boosted, there'll be a boost in employee morale. Of course, the organization image will also be boosted. Okay, so there is no overemphasis when it comes to training. It's a legal requirement, as it has been said. This we cannot overemphasize. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrison, for that wonderful contribution. I think we have stayed.
Maybe just give me 1 minute. Give me 1
Okay.
minute. Let me just also put more light on Engineer Tayyip's question and all that. As with respect to training, you know, it's one thing is that you should understand that is why in the oil and gas, even in aviation, no matter the qualification you have, even when you get there, okay, you will discover that before you are mobilized to the site to start working officially, you are going to have series of trainings. In a big organization, we understand the value of training and development, irrespective of the field of sector I've mentioned. You go for a series of training before you be taken on board. So it is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. Engineer Tayyip, your hand is still up. Is it the first one?
No, thank you very much for today's valuable session. I just want to contribute a little bit more. No, indeed, training play a vital role for any field and give a lot of information and awareness about the organization, internal culture, and respective to the HSE. It will spread the knowledge about the worker health and welfare. And by utilizing these knowledge and awareness sessions, worker maximize the efficiency and also health risks that can be reduced in a very cost-effective way. So thank you very much, such a wonderful session today. And Johnson, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Tayyip. I want to use this opportunity to thank everyone who have attended today. We had a full house. Thank you, Mr. Christian, Mr. Stephen, Engineer Tayyip, Mr. Harrison, Mr. Andrew, Mr. David, Mr. Harrison, Mr. James, Mr. Pascal, Samir is there also. So thank you all for, Mr. Harry is there as well, and Chika has gone out. So thank you guys for making today's session a very interactive one. And next week, Thursday, we'll continue again. So thank you guys, and you have a nice day.
If I may suggest, maybe going forward,
Mr. Johnson. Thank you very much.
before we round up, maybe just take a picture of everyone as your for documentation and evidence and
Yeah. Okay, let me take picture of everyone. And but most of us are not. I'm not
just
showing
ask them to turn on their cameras and then do the picture.
Okay, guys, if you won't mind, can we show our face? Mr. Henry, is this your face? See, we've been we've been talking without knowing, seeing each other's face. You see, it's good that we show our face sometimes, so that when I see you on the way, I will not just cross. Okay, done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
bye everyone.
All right, bye.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye.